Hey, Dr. Joe's in the house on this Wednesday evening. I'm back in the country, the USA. I had my trip in Ghana. Very, very nice. Had a great time. And let's have a look. Let me get Instagram online. I think they are online now. Okay, yes. So I'm back in the USA. Had a one fantastic trip in Ghana. And for those people who followed me on social media, you saw we had fun every day. It was great well, first of all, I went there for a wedding and one of my relatives got married. So we went over there and spent time traveling around the country, different locations. Saw my mother, my brother, and relatives, and just had a great time. Really, really enjoyed it. Who knows? I mean, I think I'm trying to go back again. Not sure if I'll be able to go back there this year, but definitely will go back there in the next few months. I think the next trip I'm scheduled for is to go to Dominica in October. So God willing, I'll be going to Dominica in October. They have a thing called Creole Fest, so I'll be checking that out. Yeah, my goal is to go to 6 countries this year. So done 4, got 2 more to go. Anyway, that's not why we're here today, I'm sure. Welcome. I'm happy to be back. And so today we're going to talk about building wealth and staying whole, sort of getting perspective on what's important and when's enough, and what are you really, what's all this all about in terms of buying properties and do real estate investing. So it's more on life's lessons today as opposed to just heavy duty real estate, mechanics and things like that. I'll probably do that next week. But yeah, I thought this would be good. I mean, I had time to reflect while I was in Ghana, and I'm really, trying to get balance. That's really my focus this year, is just to get balance in terms of, enjoying the fruits of your labor, but also, focus on what's important as opposed to getting too heavy in one direction, whether it's just chasing deals, chasing real estate, and at the expense of other things in your life, which I think a lot of people unfortunately have, and so on. So building wealth and staying whole. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And hold on a second, I'm gonna get my stuff together and so on. Okay, so I suppose the issue, well, first of all, as usual, if you got any questions, please put them in the chat box and I'll get to them in about 20-25 minutes. Any questions pertaining to real estate investing, landlording, Section 8, deals, analysis, whatever it is, put them in the chat box and I'll get to them in about 20-25 minutes. And for those people who want a more detailed one-on-one where we can do a deep dive into your scenario, your situation, and so on. I had one yesterday, a great session with Akia, and so on. So yeah, you can also book a one-on-one with me. Just go to my website, www.joeasimo.com, www.joeasimo.com, and you can schedule a one-on-one with me. Okay, so building wealth and staying whole. So what's all this about? That's where the question is: are you building a fortune or building a life? Are you building a life? Are you happy with what you're doing? And what's the purpose for all this? Because every investor, in my opinion, dreams of financial independence. We all do. That is owning multiple properties, enjoying passive income, and hopefully leaving a lasting legacy. But behind or beneath all this glossy success stories that you hear on social media and on TV, on radio, whatever, lies a difficult truth. The reality is many investors burn out long before they reach their goal. And, the demands of finding deals, managing tenants, and constantly chasing the next win, often leads to sleepless nights, strained relationships, and also a loss of purpose. Too often, the very reason, we as real estate investors began investing was to create freedom. That's the whole purpose I think a lot of people started off with. But as time goes by, it becomes buried under the weight of all the all-consuming business activities. Successful investors, who endure have one thing in common, in my opinion, and they understand that wealth without balance is empty. Wealth without balance is empty. You got to get balance in your life. I mean, there was a time when I was just focused on making money, focused on real estate. That's all I was preoccupied myself. I mean, I had a full time job as well, and some people get focused all on their job, their 9 to 5 job, which is nothing wrong with that. But they, they don't have the balance, whether in terms of their life, their health, their family, um, and so it's I think it's quite important to have a balance. I think successful ones anyway, people who I think are happy, they learn that sometimes painfully that the real price isn't just financial independence. It's not just financial. It's the ability to enjoy life, stay healthy, and remain connected to what really matters to you. Again, it's not just about the finances, it's not just about the money, it's about the ability to enjoy life, stay healthy, and remain connected to really what's important for you. So in this live stream, I'm going to try to explore, how to achieve that balance, drawing from the good, the bad, and the ugly experiences of that I've had, and also other real estate investors' experiences. At its core, this is not about choosing between money and meaning. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that. It's about learning to build harmony in both. When you align your financial goals with your personal well-being, in my opinion, you create a foundation for enduring success. That is what it means to build wealth and stay whole. So that's what we're going to talk about today, and so on. So let's talk about. I've usually I break it into 6 parts. Part one is defining success beyond the numbers. Is success just about money? Is money alone, enough to keep you going? A lot of people think so initially. Numbers may fuel your initial excitement, but they can't sustain you through the inevitable challenges. Many investors record the disappointment of hitting their financial targets only to feel unfulfilled. You met your goal. My goal was to get, I don't know, $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 in passive income. They get that. Okay. Now what? It's not always the case. So one investor shared how after achieving his goal of 10 rental units, for example, he found himself miserable. Why? Because he was working harder than ever. He was disconnected from his family and questioning all the point of all of this. And he almost ended up in divorce. His mistake was equating success solely with money. True success, integrates financial growth with personal satisfaction. That's in my opinion, anyway. When your investments support your life that you want, time with the loved ones, meaningful work, personal growth, you gain motivation that money alone cannot really provide. Successful investors take time to define what wealth means to them beyond the bank account. This clarity becomes a guiding compass when making business decisions. Moreover, you decide, you kind of define success holistically, and it's really important. We're going to go through financial downturns and setbacks, and but if you are focused on what's important, it gives you the courage, the energy to continue. And you're not just building assets, but really you're building a life. And I know you may think, well, Dr. Joe, that's okay for you, but da 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 da, my situation is different, and so on. I get it, but believe me, it's really important to have balance, because if you don't have balance, it's not good. Okay, so anyway, take that from me for what it's worth. So that's number one, is defining success beyond the numbers. Number two, I'm going to kind of talk about balance in a bit more detail here, part two, which is, are you scaling? I suppose the question is, I suppose the topic is balancing ambition and sustainability. Balancing ambition and sustainability. The question is, are you scaling at the cost of your sanity? Are you scaling at the cost of your sanity? I recall when I was working, my regular jobs, I was working literally 10, 12 hours a day, traveling around the country, working hard. I still have my real estate to attend to. But I was okay because I enjoyed my job. It was stressful, yes, I get it, but I needed that job because that job provided me with the financial stability to purchase rental properties because 200, $300, $400 a month cash flow is not really enough for me to quit my job. So I had to keep that job, which means I worked real hard and did what I had to do to keep it. And I recommend that strategy also. It's important to keep your job. Not one of those people who say quit your job and just do real estate full time. Yeah, it's yeah, you go through downturns. We go through all kinds of situations. So it's good to have a job because you have a reliable income stream. But yeah, you can transition out of that. But I don't think you should transition out of it until you really got the foundations of your investment in place. So are you scaling at the cost of your sanity? Ambition drives growth, but unchecked ambition can lead to collapse. Many investors who failed admit that the downfall came from overextending, i.e., buying too many properties too fast, taking on unsustainable debt, and ignoring operational readiness, i.e., they grew too fast. I've heard some people say, "Well, I want to 10x this. I want to get 100 doors or whatever it's in 2 years, 3 years, 5 years." That may sound good, but in reality, if you're not careful, you'll overextend yourself and you crash and burn. One investor shared how rapid expansion left him unable to manage his properties, resulting in financial losses and health problems. So those who succeed in the long term understand the value of pacing. They know that every property added must enhance, not erode your stability. They plan acquisitions carefully, ensuring each new asset is manageable and contributes positively to the overall strategy. So sustainable success, is really built on discipline. I was speaking to somebody this week. I'm a firm believer that you don't need to buy 5, 10, 15, 20 houses a week, a year, or whatever it is. You can attain financial independence just by buying 1 or 2 houses per year, and developing the systems that's needed to ensure that you can survive for that duration. So pacing also allows you to learn. Every property teaches you lessons, and those lessons can become the building blocks for smarter growth. Investors who give themselves time to adapt at each stage, in my opinion, build not just bigger portfolios, but also stronger ones. So that's number 2, which is balancing ambition and sustainability. Number 3 item is building systems that work. Building systems that work. I suppose the issue is: do you run your portfolio, or does your portfolio run you? Operational chaos is a silent killer for real estate businesses. Without systems, even experienced investors, become overwhelmed by endless tasks, late rent, maintenance emergencies, and bookkeeping errors. Well, one investor, confessed that disorganization almost forced him to sell everything. He was just burnt out. He was out of it. When implemented properly, you can establish the right systems, software, standardized processes, and you can also hire reliable help. And if you can do that, believe me, your stress level can plummet down, and hopefully your profitability will increase. So automation is also another reason, to integrate that into your operations. Automation and consistency free up time for strategic thinking rather than just reacting to firefights, fires and things like that. Successful investors view systems as investments in peace of mind, not expenses. I know I'm trying to integrate more AI into what I do. It's just fascinating what's available through AI. And yeah, I'm working with somebody who's an AI expert and trying to incorporate more of those things into my business. When you run your portfolio like a business with processes, accountability, and regular reviews, you can gain control. Your time, energy, and decisions become sort of intentional rather than dictated by crisis. So what's some of the action items on this? Adopt a property management software suited to your portfolio size. develop clear processes for tenant onboarding, rent collections, and maintenance. Also, conduct quarterly audits to identify and fix operational inefficiencies. Okay, so halfway through. And as I said before, if you've got any questions, please put them in the chat box, and I'll definitely try to get to them shortly. And anything to do with real estate investing, feel free to put it in the chat box, and I'll get to them shortly. And again, if you want to book a one-on-one with me where we can do, go into a lot more detail, go do a deep dive in your situations, your problems, your challenges, by all means, go to my website, www.joeasimo.com, www.joeasimo.com, and you can schedule a one-on-one on Ask Dr. Joe. Okay, so moving right along, number 4. Oh, managing risk without fear. Managing risk without fear. The question is, are you prepared for the inevitable storms? There will be storms. Every investor faces downturns. I've been through downturns. I've experienced downturns. I've experienced crash and burns. The difference between survival and failure, in my opinion, is preparation. Okay, investors who thrived during the 2008 and COVID-19 situations, one thing they had in common, they had proactive risk management. They maintained reserves, diversify their holdings, and nurture strong relationships with lenders and tenants. Risk cannot be eliminated. It's just the nature of the beast, but it can be managed. Being prepared turns challenges into manageable hurdles instead of catastrophic events. Being prepared, because downturns do come, curveballs do occur, and you've got to have the reserves. You've got to have the sort of the relationships with all your team, with your tenants, with your lenders, with your contractors, to be able to withstand any setbacks and unforeseen events. So this proactive mindset, it sort of transforms fear into confidence. Preparation always creates opportunity. Those who weather storms are also positioned to capitalize on them. Okay, buying undervalued assets during downturns, gaining market share, and emerging stronger when others fold. I think the saying goes, you can always tell a naked man who, I forgot that saying now, when the tide goes out, I forgot what it is. A lot of people think they're doing great while the economy is doing well, the real estate market is doing well. It's really your true test is when during the downturn, then you really find out if the market bailed you out, whether the systems that you had were strong enough to withstand these things. So what are some of the action items? Build a contingency fund covering 3 to 6 months of operating expenses. Diversify across property types or geographic location, and maintain strong relationships with key partners for support during tough times. And then number 5, what are we doing? 5. Okay, tenant relationships. Yes, tenant relationships as a wealth building strategy. This is something which I now realize a lot of people don't realize this. You can turnover is the biggest killer. One of the biggest killers towards cash flow. And if you can maintain a relationship with your tenants, believe me, it can build you wealth. I was speaking to one of my tenants. In fact, on Saturday, yes, they had a cookout, and I was invited. It was a block party, in fact. I was invited, and that tenant has been with me for 20 years, getting on to 21 years. And can you imagine how much I've saved in turnover costs just by her being with me so long? So the question is, do your tenants stay or run away? Do you have that constant revolving door, or do your tenants stay a long time? Tenants are the lifeblood of your business. They are. Treat them poorly, and you'll face constant turnover and lost income. Successful investors understand that satisfied tenants create cash flow. So we invest in relationships, responsiveness, and respect. One investor boosted retention by simply offering prompt service. and showing appreciation. When something goes wrong, they fixed it. Checked in with their tenants every now and then to make sure everything's okay. Those things, those little gestures, you may think it's just Mickey Mouse stuff. These small gestures can create loyalty and probably saved him thousands of dollars annually. It saved me definitely thousands of dollars. Long-term tenants provide stability, reduce expenses, and improve profitability. Building a business around respect and service not only feels good, it definitely pays off. What are some of the action items associated with this? Solicit tenant feedback and act on it. Provide exceptional service, repairs, communication, respect, and implement retention incentives like lease renewal perks. And then finally, number 6 is navigating resilience, navigating setbacks and with resilience. I suppose the question is, when everything goes wrong, will you quit or will you adapt? When everything goes wrong, things will go wrong. Will you quit or will you adapt? Setbacks are inevitable. We all face them. Let's endure. See challenges as lessons, not verdicts. Okay. One investor who lost a property early in his career now credits that failure for teaching him the financial discipline that made him successful later. I know one of my first properties was a complete and utter disaster. Everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. That could have gone wrong went wrong. Tenants weren't paying me. They were making my life a nightmare and hell. And I did zero screening for this tenant. I just took them in. In fact, I inherited these tenants. But I learned. I look back and say, wow, I learned what not to do. I stepped back, did what I had to do to learn from those experiences and move forward and learn from those mistakes. So, resilience transforms obstacles into stepping stones. Okay. So adaptability is the key. That's it. Pivoting strategies, learning from mistakes, and pressing forward. That's what we have to do. Each setback becomes part of your education and making you stronger and hopefully more capable. Resilience also inspires others, and your ability to rise after setbacks builds credibility with partners, tenants, and peers, creating opportunities you wouldn't otherwise have had. And then finally, what's some of the action items in this? Document lessons learned from every major challenge, build a network of mentors for guidance during crisis, and reframe setbacks as opportunities to learn and improve. So in conclusion, wealth without wholeness is meaningless. Real estate can create incredible financial freedom, but only if it's built on the foundations of balance, resilience, and purpose. This is all my opinion anyway. I haven't done this about 35 years. It's important to have balance and, have time don't lose sight of what's really important. Integrate your values into your investing, grow sustainably, build systems, prepare for risk, nurture tenant relationships, and embrace resilience. Okay. True success isn't just about how much you own, it's about the life you live while building it. By committing to staying whole, you're not just recreating income, you're really crafting a legacy. So, with that said, my friends, I think that's it for today. Let's go down to the comments. If you got some comments, please put them in the chat box, and I'll definitely get to them. Got comments, put them in the chat box. If you want to shoot me an email, you can reach me at joe@joeasimo.com, joe@joeasimo.com. And also, if you want to book a one-on-one with me, you can always go to my website, www.joeasimo.com, www.joeasimo.com. So that's it for today. Let's have a look. Let's go to the comments section and see what the comments are today. Okay. Amon. Good evening, sir. Hope you're doing well. Yeah. Hi, Amon. And we have Dao2 from Phoenix. Greetings from Phoenix, Dao2. Welcome. I'm glad to be back. Hope all is well in Phoenix. Hope your rentals are going well. Hey, Dr. Joe, were you on vacation? You've been running the replays for the last few weeks. Yes, I was. I was in Ghana, and I was there for about 2.5 weeks. And I had a wonderful time with family and friends, just relaxing and chilling. And now I am back. And this is the reason why we have today's live stream. So while I was gone, we ran a few replays because they were 4 hours ahead of us in the US. And I just didn't, I was so busy, I didn't really have time to do live streams. What is the average rent in the DC area from Nesta? What is the average rent? It depends on, well, at least for Section 8, it depends on two things. It depends on the location of the property, either the neighborhood, the zip code, and also depends on the number of bedrooms. So, one thing you can do to get more rent is to add more bedrooms. And that's what I do. I typically buy 3-bedroom homes, add 2 bedrooms or 3 bedrooms, and turn them into 5 or 6 bedroom homes. And so I'm able to turn what is a negative cash flow scenario, because it's just so expensive around here. You're talking $400, $500, $600 just for a basic no frills house, a house that needs work. So it's very expensive here. So the only way you can cash flow, well, not the only way, but one of the ways that I am able to figure this thing out is to add bedrooms. And by adding bedrooms, I get more rent, and I can turn a non-performing negative cash flow property into a performing positive cash flow property. Yeah, so let's have a look. Hey, Dr. Joe, I'm buying a house. I'm going to Instagram now. Hey, Dr. Joe, I'm buying a house in PG on Friday, sub 2, and plan on making it a Section 8 rental. Okay. 2 of the 7 bedrooms are huge in the basement, but don't have windows. Do you have experience with PG housing? Yes, PG Housing Authority. Okay, so what they're saying, this is Washington, D.C. is surrounded by Maryland and Virginia. So one of the suburbs of Washington, they call it suburban Washington, is Prince George's County. And what Obey Fade is saying is, Dr. Joe, I'm buying a house in Prince George's County, which is just outside Washington, on Friday. Subject 2. So he's buying it sub 2. So he's taken over the existing loan from somebody, and he plans it to make it into a Section 8 rental. Okay, so far so good. 2 of the 7 bedrooms, so it's a 7-bedroom house, which is a pretty big house. 2 of the bedrooms are huge in the basement, but they don't have windows. If they don't have windows, then you cannot make it into a bedroom. You're going to have to create windows, and they have to be what we call egress windows, which means that in the event of an emergency, the person has to be able to get out and escape. So there are legal requirements for a bedroom. And if it's in the basement, it has to, the ceiling height has to be at least 6 foot, typically 6'10" high. You got to have a closet. You got to have at least 2 working outlets. You've got to have egress and so on. So yeah, so that's so you can't use the bathroom. The bedroom basement as it is right now. You're going to have to add egress windows. You've got to put a closet in there and so on. So if you're prepared to do that, then you can utilize all the bedrooms. If you're not, then there's a chance that there's a possibility anyway that when the inspector comes, they may decline your basement bedrooms. So do I have experience in PG Housing Authority? Yes, I do. In fact, we're going to have another house in Maryland, in fact, in Bowie, which we're going to put to the Housing Authority in probably the next month or 2. So yeah, if you want to, you can always book a one-on-one with me. We can do a deep dive into my experience and how I can help you navigate this scenario. Obey. Okay, so that's Obey on Instagram. And let's go to Dow 2 on what do you call it? It's on YouTube. How was the wedding? How is the family? Welcome back. Oh, the wedding was fantastic. The wedding in Ghana is more of a traditional wedding. It was one of my relatives. They live in New York, and they decided to go to Ghana to have the official wedding. So it's kind of broken into 2 parts. It's like a traditional wedding. It goes over, it can go over several days, but this one is just over a day. There's the first part, it's usually in the mornings, and there's a traditional ceremony. Everyone's wearing their Ghana attire, traditional clothes. The husband has to bring dowry to the family of the wife, gifts, all types of gifts, and and then they have to present that to the wife's family, and they review it and decide whether to accept it or not. If they accept it, then the wedding continues. If they don't accept it, they can tell the husband or the groom, I suppose, to go back and get some more stuff. So obviously, uh, that that wasn't the case here. Everything was okay, and the whole ceremony for that goes on for a couple of hours, and then after that, it's very cultural. After that, then there's celebrations, there's food, there's drinks, and then after that, we went to the traditional, Western wedding, where we went to the church, a Methodist church, where we do the traditional, I suppose, Western type with a pastor and in the church, and so we did that. That was pretty straightforward. That was pretty standard. And you have the sermon, you have the exchange of the vows, and then you have the carols, or not carols, hymns and singing, and and so on. Then there's a bunch of photographs and celebrations at that. The bride and the groom wear traditional clothes, gowns and things like that, with the bridesmaids and groomsmen and all that stuff. And then after that, there's the celebration, which was done at this really, really nice, fancy, event hall. They called it Las Vegas. They called it. So we went there, and that was a whole bash in itself. Lots of pomp and ceremony, lots of dancing, lots of toasting, lots of food, lots of drinks, lots of dancing, the whole 9 yards. It's very, very nice. And so the events start early and then continue all the way through to late at night. And then there's the next day, there's more festivities, family gatherings, and so forth and so on. So it's a typical Ghanaian African type wedding, and which spins off over a couple of days. I know other cultures it can go on for several days, like 4 or 5 days. But this one was just a couple of days. So that was that in Ghana, and then after that, I just went traveling and relaxing, spending time with my mom, spent time with my other sisters, and so on. Okay, let's go back to Instagram and see what we got on Instagram. Let's have a look. How are you? This is Wealth Crush. I'm doing fine. How can I contact you on WhatsApp? Good question. Probably the best thing to do is shoot me an email, and and then we can see what I can do. This is from Kizzle KD. Rehank, any thoughts and tips on buying land to place new mobile home and resell it? Oh my goodness. I don't really do that, Rehank. That's not my forte. I typically buy houses, rent them out. Buy houses, renovate them, add value by adding bedrooms, and typically hold on to the houses by renting it to housing choice voucher program, Section 8 program recipients. And for long-term holds, I love the Section 8 program. Tenants tend to stay longer. My longest tenant is 28 years. I regularly have 15, 20, 18, 15, 12, 10-year tenants. They stay along, and the rents in this area are $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000. So it's very difficult to find market renters who are prepared to pay $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 who will stay for a long time. At some point, they say, this is crazy, let's go buy our own home, and they leave. With vouchers, that is not always the case. So that's why I like it. There's less turnover, but it does require understanding the process. It does require, you know, enduring some steps which you don't always do with market renters. Okay, so good question, but I don't do mobile homes. I don't have experience in mobile homes, so I don't resell mobile homes, so I can't help you on that one. Hank 05. Okay, and I think I want to try and wrap it up. If you got some comments, pull them in the chat box. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap it up for today. I think I like to try and get some rest and get ready for maybe watch a movie tonight or something. So that's it for today. I think next week I'm going to do another topic, and I'm really excited to be back. No problems with immigration, no problems with but this program is really good. It's called Global Entry. It's operated by Department of Homeland Security, I suppose, TSA, where they do all the background checks on you, and once you're approved, then when you arrive in the country, they just scan your face, and you just go straight through. It's really, really good. You can clear immigration and customs in 10 seconds. No lines, no waiting. You just in and out and keep on going. Global Entry, they call it. So those people who do a lot of travel, you may want to consider that. That's what I have. That's what we have anyway. It makes navigating the the arrivals in the US a lot easier. Anyway, that's not real estate. That's more personal stuff. I will be traveling again, hopefully next in October to Dominica. They have this thing called Creole Fest. I'm looking forward to that. And I think I'm going to be a guest speaker at an event from Erica and Own It, Live It in November in Atlanta. I was a guest speaker there last year, and I think I may, hopefully I'll try and do it this year as well, but I will be going to Dominica. So hopefully I can merge the two together. But life's good, can't complain, and so on. Okay, Dissos, any interruptions with Section 8 vouchers in DC? So far, no interruptions whatsoever. I haven't had any interruptions in Section 8 in the last 30 years. As long as the tenant's in there, the money flows in. So far, no interruptions. I do expect that they will have their budgets cut, DCHA, and HUD is cutting, just generally the budgets are being cut. So I do expect cuts in the HUD financing. We'll see how it plays out. It's a federal program. It's administered locally. So what happens in DC may be different to what happens wherever you are. But yeah, I mean, this is just, it is what it is. We'll get through it. And I'm not really that worried about it. I think we'll all be fine. Just focus on the fundamentals. Which is to have a good properties and good locations and to rent to quality tenants. Okay, my friends, that is it for the day. I want to wish you all luck and hope you have a wonderful week. And I will see you next Wednesday. So take care. Have a good one. Bye for now.